The Vatican City we know today, a tiny independent state within the heart of Rome, had surprisingly humble beginnings. Long before it was the center of the Catholic Church, the area was largely undeveloped, considered an unfashionable district on the west bank of the Tiber River. The name Vatican itself comes from an older Etruscan settlement, the Ager Vaticanus, which predated Roman control of the area. While the ancient Romans did not build major public buildings on the Vatican Hill, it was the site of an important circus. This was the Circus of Caligula, later infamous as the place where the Emperor Nero persecuted early Christians. It was in this circus, according to tradition, that the Apostle Peter was crucified. Though debated by historians, this tradition is central to the Vatican's identity as the seat of the papacy. Despite the area's association with early Christian martyrs, it wasn't until the rule of Emperor Constantine in the 4th century AD that the Vatican began its transformation. Constantine, the first Roman emperor to convert to Christianity, funded the construction of a grand basilica over what was believed to be the tomb of St. Peter. This basilica, later replaced by the current St. Peter's Basilica, marked the beginning of the Vatican's rise as a religious center. With this act, Constantine tied the future of the Church in Rome directly to the legacy of Peter, considered the first pope by Catholics. The early centuries of the Church were a tumultuous period. Christianity, initially a persecuted sect within the Roman Empire, gradually gained acceptance and eventually became the official religion. As the Church grew in influence, so too did the role of the Bishop of Rome, considered the successor to St. Peter. The title Pope, derived from the Greek word for father, was initially used for many bishops. However, over time it became increasingly associated with the Bishop of Rome. Several factors contributed to the growing authority of the Roman bishops. Rome was the capital of the Roman Empire, giving its bishop a certain prestige. The belief that Peter, the rock on which Christ built his church, was buried in Rome further enhanced its standing. During the decline of the Western Roman Empire, the popes often served as intermediaries between the invading barbarian tribes and the local Roman population. Pope Leo I, for example, famously persuaded Attila the Hun to spare Rome from destruction in 452 AD. This event cemented the Pope's image as not just a spiritual leader, but a powerful temporal ruler as well. As the Roman Empire in the West crumbled, the papacy provided a source of continuity and authority. From the ashes of the old order, a new Christendom was emerging with the Pope at its head. This period laid the foundation for the Vatican's political and religious dominance in medieval Europe. The Middle Ages witnessed both the zenith and the beginning of the decline of papal power. Popes like Gregory VII in the 11th century asserted the Church's authority over secular rulers, even excommunicating emperors who challenged their power. This period saw the peak of the investiture controversy, a struggle over who, pope or emperor, had the right to appoint bishops and other church officials. The papacy's temporal power reached its peak under Pope Innocent III in the 13th century. Innocent III wielded influence over kings and emperors, launched crusades, and presided over the Fourth Lateran Council, one of the most important councils in church history. He asserted papal authority in spiritual and temporal matters, claiming authority over all of Christendom. However, this period also saw challenges to papal authority. The rise of strong national monarchies, internal divisions within the Church, and the devastating Black Death all weakened the papacy's grip on power. The Avignon papacy, a period from 1309 to 1376, when the popes resided in Avignon, France, further damaged the papacy's prestige. This Babylonian captivity, as it was called by critics, saw the papacy become embroiled in French politics. The 15th century witnessed the Western Schism, a period when rival claimants to the papacy divided the Church. This crisis of authority further eroded the papacy's moral and political standing. The papacy was in dire need of reform, and the calls for change grew louder. The 16th century brought the Protestant Reformation, a seismic event that shattered the unity of Western Christendom. The reformers, led by figures like Martin Luther and John Calvin, challenged papal authority and doctrines, leading to the rise of Protestant churches. The Catholic Church responded with the Counter-Reformation, a period of internal reform and renewal. The papacy emerged from this turbulent period with its spiritual authority reaffirmed, but its temporal power greatly diminished. The loss of the Papal States, territories in central Italy ruled by the Pope for centuries, in 1870 marked the end of the papacy's temporal power. The Lateran Treaty of 1929, signed by Pope Pius V and Benito Mussolini, established the independent state of Vatican City. This treaty, while controversial, provided the papacy with a secure territorial base. In the 20th and 21st centuries, the Vatican has played an important role as a global advocate for peace, human rights, and social justice. Popes like John III, Paul VI, and John Paul II have been influential figures on the world stage, promoting interfaith dialogue and working to address issues such as poverty, war, and environmental degradation. The papacy has used its moral authority to speak out against injustices and to promote a more just and peaceful world. Today, the Vatican City State, though geographically small, remains a powerful symbol of the Catholic Church's enduring legacy. It is a place of pilgrimage for millions of Catholics, a center of art and culture, and the spiritual heart of one of the world's largest religions. From its humble origins, the Vatican has witnessed centuries of history, playing a pivotal role in shaping the course of Western civilization.